All right, the Case 4890 and 4894 tractors have rear wheels steered by electronic parts which fail. The electronic components are no longer available from Case, and used parts are very expensive or impossible to obtain. This is a serious problem. Our solution is to modify and reroute the existing hydraulic steering system, and this eliminates all the electronic components. Here is a diagram of the system before modification. The steering valve controls fluid flow to each of the two cylinders. These are the cylinders, and the fluid moves the tires to turn both left and right. And the front and the rear systems are independent of each other, and particularly this valve is what can go bad and cause a lot of problems. But this diagram just shows the routing. This is a diagram of the system after modification, according to what we've done. Basically, as I'll explain in a minute, we reroute the lines as shown here and add valves and lines for bleeding, which I'll show on the tractor, to each cylinder. So the procedure is this. First, remove and disassemble the 4 steering cylinders, and we recommend doing one cylinder at a time so they don't get mixed up. The front cylinders are smaller than the rear cylinders. Next step is to purchase or make hydraulic lines with shutoff valves that will connect one end of the cylinder to the other end of the same cylinder. The purpose of the valves is only to bleed air from the system. Next, drill and tap holes on each side of the cylinders beyond the piston's travel distance, and I'll show this in a minute. Then repeat this for all 4 cylinders and reinstall the cylinders. And then purchase or make the long hydraulic lines, these lines that connect the front and rear cylinders, according to the diagram. And then connect the remaining lines. After you're done, align the wheels, open all of the shutoff valves on all of the cylinders at once, and then start the tractor and turn the steering wheel one way and then the other about 10 to 20 times to bleed all the air from the system. Because I'll also make sure there's hydraulic fluid in there too. And then once you're confident that the air has been bled out, then go ahead and close the shutoff valves and you should be done. So, going over to the tractor and going under it, you can see this is the right or the left front cylinder with the lines that we added in. These were made by a local hydraulic shop, and you have to disassemble the cylinder and then drill and tap in here beyond the distance that the piston travels. You want to be behind the piston at the end of its stroke, and then you just plumb in the lines according to the diagram. And here's the other cylinder right here with the same thing. And then you basically reroute the lines as best you can along the tractor. And we'll go in back. And here's the rear cylinders too, with the new lines plumbed in. I also have some notes about this that I want to share that may help some other people. We first tried using a T-fitting from the steering valve to control the corresponding rear cylinder. This didn't work, and the result was that the rear cylinders turned halfway and then stopped while the front wheels hit their stops, the travel distance on the cylinders. Later found out that this is due to the size difference in the cylinders. Using this method, four-wheel steering will be constant and steering is more sensitive to road travel. Make sure there is no play or looseness in the steering wheel to avoid any issues on the road. We've had no issues. The hydraulic oil will not overheat. We checked the temperature of the rear cylinders by hand and the temps were fine. I mean, this is a tractor, not a race car, and so the steering doesn't work that hard. And for the hydraulic lines with the shutoff valves, we took the cylinder to a local hydraulic supply shop and explained what we wanted, and they were able to get us the components needed to make the hose assemblies. There also may be alternative ways of plumbing the hydraulic lines, but after trial and error, the method we described has been working very well for us. And this was done about 18 months ago, and we haven't had any issues with the steering. I hope this helps some other people keep their Case 4890 and 4894 tractors alive.